drove out
No,
blindly.
I don't have that kind of time.
Right.
I want to get the best ones, and then I want to do a photo gallery with the best ones. You know what I'm saying?
This could take
That's
all.
why I want to see the best.
This could take all year. That could take a while.
Yeah.
Because it took me, 2 days. Go out, take all the pictures,
Sure.
come back, organize everything, and write the article.
Right.
Mine's up, by the way.
I know. I saw it.
Some of Danbury's coolest Christmas light displays 2020. I95rock.com. My Facebook page coming soon to the I95 Facebook page. And then yours will be probably next week, right?
Yeah, next week.
When are you going out? That's a big weekend for you.
I think that's only my business.
Fair enough. What are you, my wife? It's a secret. You wouldn't understand,
Right.
she tells me.
It's 6:25. We're attempting to get to Live and Local, all right?
Uh-huh.
We'll do it right after traffic.
What up? They put up a new spit guard for us. Can you guys see it? You can kind of see it. It's pretty clean. And it's not obstructing sound in a way I thought it would. And now we can't spit on each other anymore. We like to spit on one another.
Which story's coming first?
Which story's coming first? The one in your hand. The COVID spray guard. Who's going to be cleaning it? That's what I want to know. Morning. Chilly morning. It is chilly.
We got the owners of 2 Danbury Bodegas are charged with running an illegal gambling operation. Police say Nilo Espinal and Cesar Vasquez were arrested last month after raids at Torres Grocery and Polis Supermarket. Now, investigators say wagers were being taken at the bodegas, which allegedly was confirmed by the use of a confidential informant. Both men are
CI
free.
on the streets.
CI?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Short. They shortened it up.
Okay, both men are free after posting $100,000 bonds.
$100,000 bonds. They came up with them like that, huh?
That's a big bond amount.
I know those places, obviously, but
Sure.
I know of more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's not like earth-shattering or anything. I'm sure.
What, gambling out of bodegas?
Yeah, I know where there's another one, or at least one.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect the second one.
Where is it?
I'm not going to tell you.
No.
I'm not a rat. But if I know, the cops obviously know.
Mm-hmm. Let's just take them one at a time.
Well, that's the thing. Like the same thing that we had with the massage parlors. It's not enough for them to know that illegal activity is going on in there. They got to have some sort of proof and get a warrant and go in, do the whole
They have
thing.
to go in and get the massage? Is that what they have to do?
Yeah, well, that's what I suspect.
Okay.
But no, that's what we asked Mayor Mark about those massage parlors about, what was it, a year ago? A year and a half? I don't know. Time's flying, I'll tell you. We said, listen, the picture of the place that is suspected of giving out these diddle massages is in the newspaper. How is it that you can't get them? And he said, well, it's there's more to it than just knowing what's going on.
Sure.
You got to be able to prove it and get a warrant. And
Right. That sounds familiar.
does it?
Being able to prove stuff,
What are you saying?
I'm not going to say it. I just,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know what you're saying. This could be in reference to many.
that
different
happens
things.
in many, venues of government. And, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I got you.
prove.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something with
No,
me.
you need to prove what's going on.
I would like to offer my services up to the Danbury Police Department because I'll go in to these places undercover, and I'll gamble and get diddle massages. We'll clean up the city.
I think you're going above and beyond there.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my civic duty.
Well, you won't give up at the other places where they're doing gambling.
What do you mean?
You're not going to rat them out, you said?
Right now,
I
but
see.
I'm getting no benefits
All right.
from ratting them out.
Gotcha.
I'm sure as if they make me you deputize me and make some sort of undercover, they could just throw me a little bit of cheddar. Plus I'm having fun gambling and getting the diddle
Why
massages.
don't you get a hold of Vinny? Officer Vinny.
Oh, Vinny, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you tried that before. You got yelled at.
He's more in control of the recruitment and the
Sure.
community outreach stuff than he is actual cracking down on diddle crimes.
Yeah.
And gambling
I understand.
rings.
He's got a title, and you can't. first of all, you got to go through the director of communications at the police department. Otherwise, you get in big trouble.
I got in trouble for that
Yeah.
because I was going right to the chief and
Supposed
right
to
to
follow
Vinny.
channels.
I don't like doing that. I just
No kidding.
That's how that's the whole point of getting to know people. I get to know people, and then I don't have to go through their assistant or the public relations person to talk to them.
How'd that work out for you?
Well, the chief yelled at me. Well, he didn't yell at me. The chief of police.
Yeah.
You should know. Said, "Come on, dude. You got to do it the right way." And I said,
Right.
"Come on, dude. I don't really like doing it the right way."
And what did he say?
And he said, "Don't call me dude. You're under arrest." I said, "Whoa." I said, "Watch your head."
Hey, your regular cell's ready for you.
Now, here's what I like about these bodegas that do the gambling ring.
Sure.
And especially the one that I know they're doing a gambling ring. I go there, you see. And it doesn't affect my shopping at all. I just see the degenerates in the corner doing their gambling thing.
Sure.
But they're not in line in front of me like the lotto people. The legal gambling pisses me off because they're in my way, you know? When I go to the bodega, the gamblers are set off in the corner whispering stuff to each other, and I can just get my coffee and go about my day.
Sure.
Coffee's terrible, by the way. I love it. I love bad coffee.
Terrible. Do you mean that it's bad coffee or that it's been there for 4.5 hours?
It's strong, old,
Like throughway
sludge. That's the stuff I love.
All right. Well, everybody's glad to hear that.
Yeah. So there you
Like the
go.
coffee you love. We'll do another live and local a little later on.
That was a good one. We had time to sink our teeth into that one.
You know what? We got the mayor coming on with us.
Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of sinking our teeth.
We'll ask him about this stuff.
We'll ask him about the monolith. There's another one, by the way, which I'm sure you know about.
But
Another monolith. Out in California.
what? No. I'm just hearing this news.
Yeah.
I shut my phone off when I got home yesterday,
Oh,
and I took a nap.
This is what happened.
Oh, here we go. I'm on it.
You're missing the monolith news.
All right.
6:31, Ethan and Lou here. It's I-95.
I gotta stop shutting my phone off.
You get monolith like
Third monolith.
updates?
See, I told you, man. This is what's happening. It's so hot right now. And I'm telling you, this is going to be the best thing for like 6 weeks. This is why we got to get the Danbury Monolith installed now before everybody's tired of
I
it.
think that Mark's going to just do it.
Uh-huh.
I think he's going to say, yeah, sure, we'll get on that. And
Oh, yeah, I know what
He's
he's
not.
going to say. So it's an exact match. I'm seeing it. I'm feeling you.
yeah.
Third metal monolith has appeared in California. It's almost an exact match to the two monoliths that disappeared in Utah and Romania. I do have an update on the Utah monolith
An update.
that we're going to talk about in our second round of Missed Headlines, but we won't be with you guys, so we might as well discuss it now. So can you lower that a second? Thank you. So what had happened was, I'm going to play you the audio too, so we can get in this together, because I got a lot of thoughts on this, believe it or not. So it turns out that artists put the monolith in Utah, the first one, and then it disappeared because hippies removed it because they said, you know, it's basically trash left in the desert. So we're going to decide who would win, artists or hippies, in a battle to the death. I have serious thoughts on that, but let's listen. A group of guys have taken credit for removing the monolith that was found in the desert in Utah last month. A guy who saw them knock it down says they told him this is what happens when people leave trash in the desert. Let's listen to that.
All four of them pushed it over to the one side and then pushed it back to the other side, and it just fell straight onto the ground. Right after it had fallen over and made a loud thud, one of them said, this is why you don't leave trash in the desert. And as they loading it up and walking away, they just said, leave no trace, and left. Aliens were not involved in any way, shape, or form in this thing. They had nothing to do with it. Nor was it some secret government project. None of that had anything to do with it. It was clearly an art piece by someone. Leave the art to places where art should be, and let Mother Nature have her space for art.
So here's how divided we are in America. We can't even get our artists and hippies to get along anymore. Huh? Can you imagine? The artists and hippies used to, be one. It used to be one group of annoying people. But now they're divided and they can't get along. I would say that if they were going to battle artists versus hippies, artists would win. Because they have the backing of like super rich people who are always funding their shitty projects, you know? Like, rich people always want to protect and conserve the arts, but none of the arts that matter, you know? They don't throw funding at television or radio preservation, you know? They don't throw a lot of funding at films. It's always they protect the right for some woman with a giant bush to rub feces on herself in a warehouse in New York City, you know? I mean, that's the kind of terrible art that rich people are interested in protecting, right?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah to that. And hippies, I mean, you know, the old hippies, like my friend Ethan over here, fantastic group of people if you look back at their body of work, and that's what it was work. They worked, you know, to get at some real change in this country, especially the ladies. The men were only there to sleep with the ladies, but they were there. The neo-hippies, today's hippies, are just awful, terrible little humans. Really useless. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about?
I'm just, you know, breaking down America as it stands. I'm just trying to explain to people where we are.
Explaining.
America by Lou Milano. You know? I should really be doing this on a regular basis.
Sure.
Just taking these stereotypes, stripping them down to the bare nuts and bolts, and figuring out what's what. Because I think I just figured out at least, you know, 6% of our country just now. I just laid it out and played it out. Lama says, I think not. To what? And there's a 6 a.m. visual I didn't need. Lou's riffing. No aliens. Well, it's not aliens, but... And that's unfortunate, but they're on their way. They'll make themselves known. In probably a much more dramatic way. So...
32 seconds.
We got 32 seconds, and then we're going to get in it. We're going to get all up in it. So I want to tell you about this partition, too. It's already...
Should I stay or should I go now?
It's already got a random hair on
I
it.
can't hear you. Getting ready to go on here.
All right?
If I go, there will be trouble. Side 95, the home of rock and roll, as it always is.
Yeah.
Taking it to 6:38 right now. 6:38.
I'm killing it over here on Facebook Live.
You sure are.
You know? I should start a segment called Killing America.
Uh-huh.
You know, where I just take these stereotypes and just rip them up. Rip them up, these American stereotypes.
It's amazing how much you know. Just amazing to me.
Does it blow your mind?
Yeah, it blows my mind. And my brain. Here's Kelly Quinn on
That's
the
one way to put
I-95
it.
Traffic Watch.
So, the partition...
Well, it's now Thursday, not Cyber Monday.
Wonderful.
Why can't we get this right?
So
Why?
this spit guard, this COVID protection thing, I was really impressed with the work of our engineers to just kind of at the last second pull this together, because it was at the last second. I'm impressed with their work because I expected it to be more obtrusive, annoying, affect the sound more, affect my ability to see and work with Ethan. They didn't do any of that. But one of the ideas that was floated...
Greater Danbury, listen up.
Truth be told, this should have been here when the pandemic started.
Yeah,
Truth be told.
But yeah, well, you're right, but
we didn't ask them to do that.
And they took care of it. But what I'd like to see is the idea that they floated, which is a much bigger project. And maybe it's still on the table. They talked about using the old I-95 news booth I'm going to show you that in a second because it's pretty kick-ass. Now, back in the day in radio, everybody was put in their own room, for the most part. Everybody got a little room. You had the host of the show, so Ethan would have got the big room. You had a producer, would have been in the small production studio behind me. And the newsman or co-host or
thanks,
both.
Jay. We're looking at about 6:40, 20 away from 7 o'clock in sports.
Yeah, the Mets are avoiding arbitration by agreeing to a one-year contract with pitcher Steven Matz. That's worth a reported $5.2 million. And despite a dismal season, the Yankees holding on to catcher Gary Sanchez. MLB.com says they tendered him a contract before yesterday's deadline. They had to tenderize him. They just hit him with one of them big meat tenderizers and said, hit better.
Isn't that McCormick tenderizer?
McCormick sells them?
Meat tenderizer, yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they hit him with
the
that.
ballots.
And they said, you got to hit better. You bat 140 for the year? You suck. Ben Roethlisberger's one-yard touchdown pass to Juju Smith-Schuster in the early fourth quarter. Fourth quarter was the difference as the Steelers beat the Ravens 19-14 in Pittsburgh, a game that was played on a Wednesday and started at 3:20 in the afternoon. A pair of NBA All-Stars on the move. Multiple reports say the Rockets are trading guard Russell Westbrook to the Wizards for guard John Wall and a first-round draft pick. LeBron James going to be sticking with the Lakers a while longer. His agent says the NBA superstars agreed to a 2-year max extension worth $85 million. That's your check on Sportsy.
All right, check out weather. We're looking mostly sunny, 49 today. Tomorrow, cloudy, rain in the afternoon, up to 49. And on Saturday, forecast says soaking rain.
Soaking rain, sure.
With a possibility of flooding.
Put your rubbers on.
Soaking rain, 44 on Saturday. Currently 30 degrees.
Okay, so again, let me revise that statement. Back in the day, if you had a morning show, the two guys on the morning show, so that'd be Ethan and I, would be in this room, right? And then in a separate room, you would have the news booth, the news person. And then in even another separate room, you would have the producer who would screen phone calls and, queue up sound bites and
radio shows
edit things. Yeah. Sometimes they put the news guy and the producer in the same booth. But
don't some radio shows have like 5-6 people?
Yeah. That's too many. But whatever. This building, if I'm correct, was set up for definitely a news person. Did you ever use this as a production booth? The small production studio? Was that ever used as a producer's booth?
Well, when we had interns, there was technology in there where they could screen phone calls. That lasted about 3.5 days.
Yeah, you and I tried that. Yeah, that didn't last long because interns are useless and don't know how to do anything, and it's pointless to teach them anything because by the time they get it, they leave and you get a new one. Oh yeah, and then we had the one that would fall asleep here on the counter.
That's right. This was our nap time.
But put it this way. This building is set up for if we wanted to and had the human resources, we could do, Ethan and I in this room, a news person in the news booth, and a producer in the studio behind us, which would be frigging awesome. Since the human resources aren't available and we are all things, what we could do for COVID safety is to put me in the old news booth, which is now currently a storage area for live events, prizes and stuff. And I'm going to show you that booth, and I don't even want you to start with, give me that t-shirt, give me that pen. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I go in there to show them,
oh yeah, that's where all the free stuff is.
they're going to say, can you give me some free stuff? Here's my address. You got to
Not
talk
allowed.
to somebody else. That's not my department. I don't sit here all day writing down people's addresses. I don't want to hear your sob story about how you've been asking for a t-shirt for 20 years and didn't get one. If you're that interested in a free t-shirt, you'd be lying to tell me you didn't get one over the last 20 years.
Woo your audience.
Because I'm just trying to get out in front of this thing. I just want to show them
Okay.
where I could be, because this idea was floated.
Greater Danbury, listen up.
So in here, this used to be the news booth, right? Now, there's a window, if they set me up, where I could see Ethan, which is obstructed currently by horseshit and nonsense. So, I be in here. The sound is phenomenal in here, by the way. It really is. When you shut the door, so there's all a bunch of crap in the way. So I'd love to be in here as a long-term solution for, pandemic juices, because I became very familiar with the news booth and enjoyed my time in there when I was the news director here, and I worked in this news booth over here, which still operates as a studio. Come over here. I'll show you. I used to sit here, and I had my own controls and things. Now, it's a different setup than it is today, but something similar. The computers were not in the way of the window. There's another window behind these computers. And I would do my news reports for Matt Carey's show, all right, who was called Charlie Wilson on B105.5, the oldie station. We still had our rapport. With the headphones, it sounds like you're in the same room. Frankie says, may I have a t-shirt? And then you get to see each other, and they can set it up in a way that you can see each other and the screens aren't in the way. But that's a long-term project. See, you hear the sound in here? It's not. It's the silence is deafening. But then when you get on, you got your headphones, you got your own controls. It's a real diddle fest. I mean, it really wakes up that button fetish that we all have. You guys like buttons, right? Pushing buttons? We get to push a lot of buttons in radio. It's a lot of fun. So that's my dream. My dream is to be in a separate room from Ethan. Because as long as you can see each other in real time, it doesn't matter if you're in the same room. If you're not in the same building, that's a different story. We need to physically see each other through a window, at minimum.
You tell them that many morning shows across the state are not in the studio, and they hate it.
Yeah, so that's a good point Ethan just made. Because of COVID, many morning shows, not only throughout the state of Connecticut, but throughout America, are not in the same room. Many of them aren't home. They're mandated to stay. They are home. They're mandated to stay home. They set up these mini studios in their homes, and they hate it, a lot of them. Because you don't, it's not a work, first of all, I could not work, even if I didn't have kids in that environment, because it's not a work environment. That's your home. If you're not changing out of your sweatpants, we have a problem already. It's all mentality. And on top of that, you gotta see each other. You gotta see each other in real time with no lag, no delay, no technical difficulties. That would be problematic.
Well, a lot of this, to be done successfully, you need to be able to judge face cues. I mean, working together for many years is one thing, but you still have to see that person.
You gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to look at the person. Miss out on the awesome aromas, Paul said. Ethan would be delighted to not have to deal with my aromas. He kicks off a few of his own aromas from time to time. Don't let him fool you. So that is my dream, is to have that room restructured. As soon as I walked in there, Lama said, can I have a shirt?
Well, yeah, because you told him you couldn't.
I told him he couldn't say it. Wouldn't that be something, my friend? I love it.
All right.
I love it. It's the shaggin' wagon.
3 minutes.
Here's the other thing. I was telling him,
Yeah.
everybody's got a button fetish. We all like pushing buttons. In radio, we get to push a lot of buttons.
A lot of buttons.
It's fun. If they put me in there, I'd have even more buttons. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
They'd have to add buttons. It would just be a necessity.
In fact, when I was in college at Ithaca, radio and television, there was a course on where to push and when to push the buttons.
Where and when to push the
Yes.
buttons. Yeah. Well, there's a
This
lot
back
of
in
courses.
1973.
A lot of courses they don't teach now or have to. Back timing.
Right. That was one of the introductory radio broadcasts.
That's Radio 101, back timing.
Mr. Woodman, that was his name.
Back timing is the radio equivalent to making change as a cashier. It really sounds fancy. All it is doing math in reverse. It's not even doing math in reverse. It's subtraction. That's what it is. You learn to subtract time.
Right.
That's all back timing is. And just like with cashiers, they decided that people can't do this, so they computerized it. And now I miss back timing.
back time.
Is it really that hard to subtract time?
It's not.
And it keeps you more focused when you have a billion things to focus on.
It's now like old school back time.
What is?
Back timing is like old school.
Right.
You know, back timing.
Well, here's the funny thing about back timing. The computer does it for you.
Right.
Does all the work for you if you follow the rules in some shape or form. We don't, so we still have to back time to make up for all of the many...
So you're talking for 10 minutes.
all of the many rules that we flouted.
Flouted. I like the word.
But Ethan...
I like the use of the word flouted.
Ethan used to have to physically edit on a reel-to-reel. I was trained on how to do that, and that teaches
Tape
you...
with recording tape.
Oh, it's so much fun.
And
You want
razor
to...
blades and cutting the tape, and then the splicing tape.
It's really hard to learn. That one's hard to learn. But it's fun once you have it. Is
Razor blades. I know those, Dave.
editing on a reel-to-reel. It's fun unless you have a deadline. Not so fun if you
There
have
was
a
one
deadline.
guy, one part-time job, who just could not adapt to CDs and then computers. He couldn't do it. He quit.
He quit because he couldn't
quit
adapt to
because
CDs and
it
computers?
just- It was too. What's the word I'm looking for? Too
Then he never liked the job.
No, and he had that radio voice.
Oh. So I dislike him even more.
He had like large Dave pipes.
Some of these guys were in
we
radio
go.
because they had a voice and knew how to use the equipment. What happens now? It's just Jimmy talking. You have missed headlines?
Yeah, man. It's 95, 651 here, the Ethan Radio Show.
Did I give you the missed headlines?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right, Funktronic, let's get going.
Funktronic, I like that.
I didn't like it, so it doesn't surprise me that you did.
Funktronic and Milano.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So what are we doing here?
Funktronic and Employee of the Month.
That's right. Employee of the month, ladies and
You're
gentlemen.
looking
right
at
over
him.
there.
This guy. What has 2 thumbs and is Employee of the Month? This guy.
Well deserved, I might add.
Thank you. But don't get me started on that whole unnecessary crown.
I'm not going to. Let's get the traffic, and then we'll dive right into missed headlines. Here's Kelly Quinn. Hey, Kel, what's up?
Oh, Rich. So I'm teaching you things you already know. That's all right, Rich. Just let the others enjoy it in case if they do. I don't know if they do. Copywriting too. That's a lost art.
Any audio?
There's an actual way to do
No
it,
audio.
and no one bothers to train salespeople on how to do it. Audio. No audio. Although there's some great audio later.
Say what?
There's no audio now, but there's some great audio later.
Okay.
Information you didn't need right now.
All right, we got a 55-year-old guy. His name's Tim Courier. He's the mayor of a 12,000-person town called Messina in upstate New York. I know of that town.
I know of Messina, and you've talked about Messina a lot.
Right,
Messina,
well,
New York.
That was Jim Messina.
No, but you've talked about Messina,
Yes,
New
I
York,
have.
too.
He was the police chief for 2 decades before he was elected mayor 6 years ago. And this guy, he goes hard. The county
What is
sheriff-
his name? Is his name Jim Messina, too?
No, it's Tim. Messina is the name of the town.
Oh, Messina's the name. I'm so confused.
Really, Tim Courier. is the
Tim
name of the
Courier, police chief in Messina, New York.
Right.
I'm following now.
The county sheriff and U.S. Department of Homeland Security have been running an investigation on this guy for a while for selling drugs. On Tuesday, they made their move to arrest him. Now, the county sheriff and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, they took his car. No, he took off in his car. Now I'm confused. But the courier took off in his car, got into a chase with the police through the town, and as he went through an intersection, he threw some of his crack out the car window.
Sure.
I mean, you want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Police eventually got him to stop. He was arrested on several charges, including possession of a controlled substance, tampering with evidence, and failure to comply.
Yeah, but you're better off taking the tampering with evidence charge
Yeah.
for trying to throw the crack out the window.
Right.
Because every bag that goes out the window that they can't find is a reduction of your charge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it depends. Like, let's say, why do I know about this?
I don't know.
Let's say you throw enough crack out the window that they can't find, right?
Yeah.
To prove that you were distributing.
Right.
Now your lawyer can argue that you were just a crackhead.
Okay.
You
I
see?
think I'm following.
I've brought this up before.
Right.
The lawyer goes into court and he goes, "Excuse me, Judge, he's just a crackhead, okay? He's not a crack dealer.
Right.
He's a crackhead."
He's just using.
Right.
He's not selling. Well, the mayor's now taking leave of absence. He's actually going to seek some therapy.
You don't say. Now,
Yeah.
how piss poor of a criminal, of a corrupt cop do you have to be the police chief of a 12,000 person town and still get caught?
I don't know, man. You get into crack, you do just about anything.
There's a good show that I just started watching that's kind of like this.
What's it called?
Corrupt
Crack?
Police. No, Big Sky.
Big Sky.
Written by David E. Kelly, the famous David
I like
E.
David Kelly. What is it on?
Big Sky is on the Fox network and stars.
Is it on Netflix or Prime Video?
It's on Hulu. It's on
Okay.
the Fox. It's
Okay, Hulu.
streamed on Hulu. It's presented by the Fox
Does Hulu
network.
still do commercials?
Can I get my thought? I think you have to. They do, but I think you can pay an
I'm not
upcharge
watching
to
it.
get rid of the
I'm
commercials.
sorry, finish your thought.
The great Ryan Phillippe,
Yeah.
heartthrob from the early 2000s, is in it, and it looks so far. I'm 3 episodes in. I'm digging what they're putting down.
Cool.
Yeah.
All I want to do is get in the story too,
Sure.
like you said. Well, someone recently found out that if you search for medicine ball on Sears.com,
Yeah.
the first item listed was a device you can use to stretch out a very different type of balls,
You stretch your testicles
and there was an explicit photo to go with the product.
for real.
It was being sold by a third-party company in Sears' marketplace, who clearly slipped past their censors and quality control. But once this listing started going viral yesterday, Sears, of course,
Hold
they
it
pulled
down.
it down.
I was just double checking.
Yeah. You looking for it now?
Yeah, just to see if they say they took it down. They didn't. Well, you could tell that they did a lot of hasty work in this back end yesterday, because it's all jacked up. They must have said, "Listen, I don't care what you got to do to get it off there. Get it off there."
So was it a goof
But
that it was up there in the first place?
when you yeah, because I guess they have an open marketplace and didn't vet all the ball sack products that are out there.
I don't think you can say that word.
I mean, who wants to stretch their nuts, man?
Well, maybe
Just wait till you get older.
exercising or something. I don't know.
Just wait; they'll grow. As you get older,
All right.
you know they're banging around your ankles.
I don't want to think about it anymore. Okay. What's wrong with
I'm gonna
you?
write this time down because we're gonna need all this stuff. This is good stuff.
All right. So, a good smuggler. You know you're a good smuggler when the police praise you for having, quote, creativity without limit.
Okay.
That's what happened with a 30-year-old woman from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Yeah, that's actually you did a pretty good job with that.
She got on a bus in Paraguay.
I mean, if you say it right, you really turn the P into a B,
I can't.
and it's all one big
Not
giant
gonna
vowel except for the B. Sao
Not gonna
Paulo.
happen.
Sao Paulo.
Okay, cool. She got on a bus in Paraguay this weekend, headed back to Brazil. The authorities got a tip she might be smuggling drugs. Here we go with the drugs again.
All right.
And they found she was inside of her fake pregnant belly.
Oh.
Oh, this is a brand new one.
No, yeah, we've seen that one before.
The woman had a hollowed out watermelon stuff up her dress. And inside the watermelon were 4 bricks of cocaine. Now, the
Wow.
cops were so impressed that they took several pictures and praised the woman's, quote, creativity without limit
They took selfies with it.
on their Facebook page.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty creative.
They're always going to find another way once the cops sniff out the hottest smuggling way.
Sure.
Somebody comes up with a new way.
I tell you, I mean, the watermelon is perfect for that.
I mean, back in the day, it was balloons, swallowing balloons
Right.
for the smugglers, which now they have the scanner. They could see that inside of you.
How do you know all this stuff?
Because I just watch a lot of TV,
Yes,
crime
you
TV.
do.
But that's dangerous for the smuggler, right? And it's dangerous for the physical person smuggling and the big drug cartel leader, because you can lose drugs. See, if the balloon starts to leak inside the person, they overdose and die. It's just too much drugs for your body to take.
Right.
And then the big drug cartel person is out all that money,
Sure, sure.
and
Everyone give it-
they're missing a smuggler. They got to recruit a new person.
Do you ever want to give it a try a couple of times?
No,
No, not at all?
Sounds off.
All right. Missed Headlines is over now.
Oh, okay. Just consider if you're about to dig into a giant bag of drugs right now.
Sure.
It might have been in someone's ass. Likely was in someone's ass.
That is something to think about.
Yeah.
Missed Headlines is brought to you by New Age Collision, state-of-the-art collision repair facility in Brookfield, specializing in all aspects of auto body. It's newagecollision.com at 203-546-7614.
So before I go, let me tell you about the new, I love, this is not a commercial. It's going to sound like one. I love the Mitchell Fuel Oil gas station down here.
Yeah,
Mitchell, since 1945. They're the ones that instituted the policy that you couldn't scratch lottery tickets in line. So I fell in love with this place so much. I wrote an article about it when I saw that sign. And I've been going there every morning for my coffee for quite a while. And they took COVID very seriously and followed all the procedures as they were given out, the guidelines and the things that they should do. But even before they were given ideas about how to protect people, they kind of instituted their own. They had like this plexiglass thing, and you could only order from outside for a little while. That didn't last, but it was an awesome try.
they did it for a while, though.
They did. But they have the coffee. The coffee that comes out of this machine is awesome. So the new COVID coffee setup, right? Where you have the touch screen, and it's got the grinder on top and everything. Mm-hmm. It's probably not new, but whatever.
Right.
It's newish to them. So that they're not making pots anymore and touching things. It's just you and everybody else touching the screen. But that's everywhere. We're all doing that. But it makes it a killer cup of Colombian coffee is what I'm here to tell you. So if you want 100% Colombian and you want to leave a little room, it even asks you if you want to leave a little room in the cup so you're not spilling it all over your crotch piece when you get in the car. So I leave a little room, and it also asks, there's a bold feature where you can make the coffee a little stronger, which I'm for. So go check
Well,
that
I'm glad
out.
you covered all the bases on that.
I'm just so delighted with all
Yeah.
the things that they do over there.
Okay, now say goodbye to
I
your
could
audience,
work
'cause I
there.
got questions here.
And I'd be happy. Okay, I got to say goodbye to my audience because Ethan has questions here. This was a lot of fun today, and I think it was educational for some of you. Rich, of course, went to communication school, so learned this all in college radio a long time ago, he says. All right, goodbye.